Oh, this story I heard last summer and it feels like a long time ago. When I was about to become an occult writer, I heard two serious experiences in quick succession. I was so upset that I didn't have time to keep my composure, but for the sake of the readers who were looking forward to it, I thought I'd introduce you to some of the strangest and chilling stories that are happening in the world. This time the story was a very scary story derived from a problem that was directly consulted by a woman in the editorial department who I usually take care of. She was a widow in her mid-30s who was a veteran reporter who was the deputy chief of the editorial department at a certain publishing house. Ace's countryside was in Yokohama, but he moved to Tokyo and settled in Tokyo because he wanted to master editing work in earnest. The editorial office was located in Minato Ward, but I commute on foot from Aoyama, where my apartment is located, to Takanawa for exercise. As who is active in both work and private life has had an embroidered personality since his university days and has been playing relatively evenly. The medium handled by S was a magazine company that featured seasonal items, and it was a moderately well-known company that mainly specialized in flowers. She joined the company at the age of 23 and had a smooth career, but when she discovered that she was pregnant with her boyfriend, who she had been dating since college, she got married immediately. At that time, I was so busy that time flew by and I had almost no time to look back on my life. The 10-year-old and 5-year-old children grew up to swear, and just when everything seemed to be fine, her husband suddenly announced a divorce. As with everything, it was never so boring and difficult to maintain that it got stuck in a rut. The more work and family become commonplace between men and women, the less gratitude and labor they have. At work, I was selected as the deputy head of the editorial department, and it was a big stumbling block in the midst of a premonition that my dreams and goals would be achieved step by step. Certainly, the past few months have been usually busy due to a combination of personal matters. I was refusing to go straight to work, such as my family, my children, the procedure at school and the government office, etc. Whether or not he know about his daughter's difficulty, his grandfather in Kyushu urges him to visit his grave, but he can't go, and it remains deeply in his heart. It may have been a warning that the liver in the stomach was in a somewhat unstable state. The slight anomalies that I noticed in my daily life began with really trivial daily life. Mr. S. I asked for proposal last week, but it hasn't come up yet. Are you okay? Director, I put it on my desk last night. I attached it to the email, but I printed it out and bound it for the time being. Ha 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 ha. Really? Oh my gosh. Bad, bad. Kay, the head of the editorial department, was a super veteran industry person who had been in this world for too long. Our company had a sales section called the shooting iron department, where I served as editor in chief for my years. And this year I was transferred to a new department. It seems that he has been with the company for 35 years, and the wind is extremely rough. The hair on his gray head is disheveled, and his glasses are covered with dust and dirt. The white polo shirt is so dirty that you can tell what color it is. He weighed well over 100 kilograms and looked like an adult disease. Even such a nasty boss had a lot of trust in him, and he could feel the depths of his emotions when he spoke to him. Mr. S. Hale's future of the in-house newsletter. Hurry up. Everyone seemed to be waiting. Director, don't do it. Tell the general secretary, not me. Oh, I say, it's bad. It's bad. By the way, do you know the extension number of the general affairs? It's 074. Already, be firm, didn't you just get as managing director the other day? If you don't do it, it will be scraped eventually. As a matter of fact, the new general manager was a little more harsh. because I worked my life in the company so nervy. I ended up with a very biased managerial position. As for this manager, he was called scrap metal or laser. It was a kind of way of saying it, and the executives called him X Iron. As mentioned above, it was very complicated, but the big project that I had in the summer of that year was a big motivation for me at that time. It was a presentation for a balloon competition on the riverbed in July. 10 companies from each company will enter the balloon competition held in the summer of that year, and they will comment on the symbolic flowers designed on the balloons and publish them in the magazine. And the balloons on the riverbed are a great opportunity to disclose not only the advertising effect of the company, but also the background and image of the choice of flowers, as well as what kind of strategy the company will use to appeal to the world in the future. S, who was assigned to take on the subcap of the project and editing, was exposed to a lot of pressure due to circumstances in his personal life. When I sent my two children off early in the morning, I hurried to get ready and head to the office. Every day I woke up before the sun had even risen, and most of the time I came home at night. In such a life, we often used to use a convenient vehicle called a taxi, communi- commuting on foot, which is supposed to be a concern for health and style, did not appear in the cycle of early morning and late night. There was often so much confusion that I forgot the time, and even a brief break was resolved by chanting in such a taxi. Oh, it's hard today. I don't even have a later night allowance. Hey driver, oh, heh, that you put it on the other day. It is wrong. Whoa, yes. Driver, do you always go around here? Yes, that night. I'm from the countryside of Aomori, so I can only go around a small neighborhood. Not at all. It's not that the design is old. Our doesn't have a family aff- affinity. It's not like that. Don't know what you are talking about. That's right. Only the customer knows about the customer. You see, drink this too. I was offered a bottle of energy drink, probably from a different customer. It was not expensive, but an ordinary cheap item. But I was grateful. This kind of casual kindness was something that resonated with me. Driver, thank you. Good night. When using a taxi, the reason for stopping at a distance from the home was simply to prevent the house from being fixed and to have contact with the outside air. As the experiences of here began to manifest itself in a creative way, as a, as, as a dog's way, it was phenomenon at was setting famous Marmar cemetery that I always pass when I come home from work. The mansion of S was mustard colored building that went up the hill under the viaduct of the Marmar cemetery and turned left. But in front of the viaduct, a woman dressed in red always stood at a small bus stop, going to work early in the morning and working overtime until midnight became a routine in his life. And it may be unrealized that he was putting an excessive burden on Elsa's mind and body. But the phenomenon of seeing the invisible may be a common occurrence in everyday life. It's been busy lately. I decided to think that it was unreasonable. You have to understand that if you are pressed for time, everything will become choppy and choppy. That when he had to proceed cautiously, the older child A was a solid child who usually looked quiet and quiet old. I have been saying she doesn't want to go to school for the past few days. He is sitting by the window of his room, shaking his body and wrapping himself in a blanket. It may be a so-called refusal to go to school, but from Esther's point of view, it is a blue sky and there is no attitude as a parent. Moreover, I didn't have enough mental strength to struggle, snuggle up to the heart of my delicate adolescent daughter who had just parted ways with her father. Combined with his business, he rushed into a day that is about to become desperate. Then, after a while, I remembered the woman in red, whom I had completely forgotten. The woman I saw at that time was about 2 from 3 times, and for some reason I haven't seen lately. One day that woman appeared at an unexpected time. Mom, my sister want to eat fish now? Mm-hmm. Wow, is that right? Really? Sister, did you say something about school? Well, but you know, I said I wanted to go back to my grammar during the summer, our winter vacation. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know why. I wonder if I'm getting wrong, sister. The was muttered by the youngest child, M, while shopping in the basement of the department store on Sunday. Became a word that it lantern in Ace's feelings, uh, as living situation did not deteriorate to the extreme, but in the eyes of his parent, he seemed to be confused by the growth of his body and mind because he was not able to organize his words thoughts. I don't talk to anyone all day, and I look out the window blankly. He was shaking and moaning from time to time, but he seemed to get tired and fall asleep quickly. I had 3 meals on a regular basis, so it may have been a relief that I didn't have to worry about my physical condition. The youngest child seemed to be happy that he would eventually enter elementary school, and every day seemed to be fulfilling. Even at the event of shopping with her mother, she can stop chatting even before she goes out, perhaps because it matches her lively personality. Such a showed a trivial anomaly on the way home. Mom, I'm scared. What's going on? I wonder if my stomach hurts. There, there, woman, Mom, there's blood. Yes, yes. Em wondered if her sister was too worried and appeared in her dreams. That was a person talking about. I'm wearing red clothes, not blood. It's okay. Let's go home today. Just at the bottom of the tunnel, just beyond the bus stop, there was a woman standing there. Children who are highly sensitive and have excellent five sense may have developed antennas that capture the invisible. It also clearly captured the figure of the woman in the red clothes. I was hesitant to cause unnecessary anxiety to my child, and I chose not to speak up. Even so, she was a creepy woman. Our razor, she was difficult to describe. His unusually slender style makes it difficult to assume his age, even if the gender was female. It was impossible to identify the detailed personality. For some reason, I couldn't get close to him, and the black eyeball seemed to refuse to come near him. When I get home in a hurry, I started preparing my meal. The inconvenience of single mother families was that they had to do everything on their own terms. It took an extraordinary attitude and enthusiasm for an independent woman to move through the world independently in a family environment where the dynamic of a man has been lost. All decision making authority must depend on the fragile existence of the mother. In the case of cars, it could be said that the engine was the father's and the chassis and the suspension were the mother's. The father has not abandoned the family. From now on, I had to control everything. The next morning, when I felt a little earlier than usual, a taxi stopped in front of me at the right time, and I was able to head to the office. The deadline for the proposal was approaching, and we needed to respond quickly. Family and work are about to begin, and even the slightest compromise our indulgence can ruin your life. It's such a busy daily life, a situation that derails Ace's life again breaks out. Ace Chan, I'm getting a call from the business department. It's kind of like from school. What? School? I wonder if M has caused something. A-chan didn't go to school, right? M-chan's tantrum way exploded. The words muttered by the receptionist who connected the phone were deeply stuck in Ace's heart. The spark in the home continued to accumulate like a magma when there was an imbalance somewhere, and there was the risk that it would explode one day. The absence of further, the deep suffering of siblings nearby, and the fear of losing distance from the mother who is the most dependent, who is neglecting the family, eat away at the mind and body of a child who is only 5 years old. When I picked up the phone, I was told that my daughter, M, was absent from school and did not want to return home. S turned on his heel and went back to school after going to work. When I arrived at the school, the teacher who was supposed to be my hometown teacher and M were waiting for me in front of the entrance of the school. Teacher, I'm sorry. Mm, what did you do to this child? Yes, M-chan, I'm saying that I really have to go home. When I asked they didn't answer and I was in trouble. And why did something happen? Does it hurt in your stomach too? If you don't do it, you might get angry. What if you don't do it? What? Why? The fact that his complexion white like anemia may be evidence that he is deeply frightened. She didn't say any more words and slowly fell silent. S decided to take her young child home with her. On the way home, Mom, this way is here. What is it? What? Isn't it a toilet? Let's bury it properly. This, what's going on? M surprised S by showing him an unexpected place on the way to apartment. He found the carcass of a black cat in the storage space under the stair of the apartment. The black cat is in a terrible state, and its torso is torn in half. He may have been emaciated and unhealthy, but it was a brutal way to be killed. The conclusion that he had been killed was only S's subjective opinion, but what impressed me more than anything else was the negative energy emanating from the bloodshot eyeballs that lay there. The pain and sadness that the black cat must have suffered. Good. Phew. Coo. War. I still have breath. For a moment, I had the illusion that the black cat's breath was still there. He moved his lower jaw slightly upward and seemed to groan in pain. And this child, what to do? Go over there, bury it. That place under the bridge. It's close place. Mom will go with me, so it's okay. He pointed to the bottom of a viaduct near his home. I'm sure they are going to bury it in the vicinity of that place. On the right side, on the viaduct, asked tree about 3 meters high are planted to the extent that they narrow the space of 2 sidewalks. But if it is a small animal, it will not be a problem even if it is buried. The parents and children, who were very upset, went into the shrubbery, keeping their bodies close to each other as if to calm each other's hearts, and buried the corpse of the kitten whose body was still warm. When he returned home, he had an unusually cheerful voice from his room. Above all, it was a good feeling. My work situation became more and more busy, and I couldn't afford to worry about my surroundings. Now, when I look back calmly, I may have been trying to put a lid on all the annoying things that were happening around me. I felt like I didn't have my feet on the ground. One night, I got home after midnight as usual. It was too late, so I asked my colleague Kate to send me home. There is no woman standing at that bus stop as usual. I was dropped off under the viaduct a little further on, and I went up the slope on the left. 1 minute later, I heard a limping noise behind me. Wow! It was a cry of some kind, but it was a strange voice that seemed muffled from the bottom of my stomach. It's you. Hey, the woman there. Ah, yada. Are you being chased? I didn't see anything clearly, but a middle-aged man wearing a dark jersey was approaching me at the goal. There was still quite a distance between her and the man, but what she could see from distance was her beastly, raw, fiery, chestnut eyeballs. The moan of the blood-thirsty dead grows so loud and strong that they engulf the entire place. Yes, run like a rabbit to escape. If you are caught, it is so powerful that not only your body, but also your soul will be taken away. It was only a few hundred meters to my home, but my legs couldn't move as I wanted because of fear. It was then. Mother, hurry up, run as hard as you can. Huh, huh, A, huh, it is A? Yes, hurry up, because it's bad. About 10 meters ago, I could see A cheering me up with a frantic back beckoning hand from the right of a telephone pole on the way up the hill. I'm here to help myself. Ha 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 ha. Hey, how did you know? Because I've been able to understand my mom thought lately. I thought it was weird and went outside, thinking that my mom was going to be attacked by him. S and A pulled each other's bodies tightly together and ran away and returned to their homes. The sign behind me had disappeared at this moment, but I didn't know when I would come again. It was the moment when I entered the front door of the house and hurriedly locked the door. Hey, oh, oh my gosh, it's you, you. Hi, hi there. Someone, someone help me. Gosh, goo goo, goo 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 goo. It's right. You were losing something. You can never get back what you forgot. I'll chase you until I die. A pale, bloodless sea hand grabs the front door and prevents it from closing. A and S grabbed the door in a hurry so that they couldn't get inside. Even though it was a delicate hand, the arm strength of a man was tremendous, and it was quite troublesome for two women to deal with the idiot force that tried to force his way in. Oh, ah, oh my gosh, this bastard! Phew, bang! I violently kicked the hand of the man on the other side, who was grabbing the doorknob from the outside while grabbing it with both hands. Ooh, war! The man on the other side let go of the door with a low, heavy voice. There was the moment of the frozen silence. There is no sign of people behind the door. and it feels like there is no one there. Ace was so scary that his body couldn't move as he wanted. But before A was there, he mustered up the courage to open the door. No one. When I touched the doorknob on the outside, there was still a slight warmth. He's here to kill us. S and A hugged each other tightly on the spot. I felt as if I was being bounded by the fear of being suddenly attacked and the intangible horror of being killed by an unknown person. It went into the house and called the police while checking that M was safe. Soon after, two plainclothes police officers appeared, and the entire family was carefully questioned. I was told that there was no confirmed trauma other than the death of a black cat at the bottom of the stairs, so the incident was raw. No, I'm actually being chased by a suspicious man, and my cat is dead. The daughters also talk about how a strange person has been watching them lately. Even if you explain it, you won't try to deal with it with an nuclear expression, unclear expression. Even after the police left, the two of them could not get rid of their fear, and they had a sleepless morning. I had the worst morning with my feelings still upset. She makes lunch for her children and washes off the damp sweat from her body in the bathroom as she prepares for work. I left the house with a drowsy feeling in my head. I was lucky enough to pick up a taxi parked on the viaduct. I felt like I wanted to avoid walking as much as possible, and the taxi might give me a little more relief. Driver, please to Takanawa-dai. Hmm, 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 hmm. Driver, hmm? Driver, what do you think? Ba, bubuchi, chichichi, dear Gakko. Customers, I'm not satisfied with that. Eh, why? Why? That guy, that man who was peeking through he gap in the door of the apartment looked into his face while tearing off the driver of the taxi with his hand. She's trying to struggle herself by completely exposing her upper body. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I don't remember anything after that. The next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed. Two young children are looking at me kindly. Mom, are you okay? It was really dangerous. You guys, why are you here? What's wrong with me? Mom, I forgot my cell phone and left. I, I hurriedly went to give it to her, and he was strang- strangling her, and that man was screaming at me, and everyone came. Aim seems to have been very scared, and is trying hard to explain with tear in his eye. Aim and the two of them are observing their mother with a worried look on their faces. Perhaps he was happy to have regained consciousness, but I could see that his tense face was slowly loosening. For their children, their mothers are the most important source of support. 3 days later, the police officer who took care of me the other day came to my house. There was a serial assault case of woman in this area, and the culprit was finally caught. It was this man who attacked S, and S was about to become the eighth victim. It was a really dangerous place. Mr. S, during this time I was sorry. We couldn't connect it to the incident that Mr. S was being targeted. Yes, I don't know, but why did my daughters know that I was going to be attacked? Mr. Detective, have you heard anything? Now, surely, if it's a coincidence, it seems like the timing is right. Why not ask your daughter? Later, when I asked A, he replied that he did not know what he was talking about. Either way, the best thing is that the whole family was safe. After listening to A's story, Koji thought that the crime by a real pervert was the most frightening thing of all. The fear that strikes us is something that always lurks in the shadow of our everyday lives. After finishing the conversation at the coffee shop, Koji noticed a girl standing outside and waiting. I knew right away that it was A in the example I was talking about, but I was a little surprised to see that it was unexpectedly mature. She seemed to be accompanied by her mother, but it was cute that she left her gaze and was confused. How is M-Chance get along well with your mother? I wonder if I'm going to go shopping today. I'm going to go to my mom and grandma, and if something happens, I think I need to get help. Grandma and grandma in Kyushu? Yes, I think it's okay if I go see him. Hmm, that's right. After leaving such a word, I returned to the city with my mother, who had finished using the toilet. In life, great invisible forces determine happiness and unhappiness. In most cases, the key is human behavior. As for her, I was supposed to suppress that area without skipping a beat. Feeling anxious about going home like this, Koji ordered another hot coffee. It was because I felt that it was necessary to digest this fear in my body and forget it clearly. And